All right, let's talk about something we all do every day. Tapping our phones to pay with UPI. It's awesome, right? Super convenient. But here's the thought. What if that simple tap, that scan of a QR code, could actually get a small business into some serious trouble? Yeah, today we're going to dig into how we can build India's digital economy, but do it the right way. I know, that sounds a little dramatic, right? Ruin your business? But look, for millions of small shop owners and vendors all over India, this isn't just drama, it's a real fear. That little QR code, the thing that's supposed to make everything easier, could end up being a massive, massive headache. So, how does that even happen? Let's get into it. So, to really get this, let's picture someone. Let's talk about a pani puri vendor. You know the scene. He's got a busy stall, people are lining up, everyone's happy. He takes cash, of course, but he's also got that QR code sitting there. I mean, why not? It's just easier for everybody. And business is booming. Okay, but here's where the trap gets sprung. More and more people are paying with UPI, which is great, right? But then his digital transactions creep up and cross that 40 lakh rupee threshold for GST. And boom, out of nowhere, a GST notice shows up. For him, this whole digital dream just turned into a nightmare. See, the tax guys see all the money coming in digitally, but they don't see all his costs, the ingredients, the stall rent, all that stuff. And just like that, going digital feels like the biggest mistake he ever made. And this is the absolute core of the issue. This isn't about people trying to dodge taxes. Not at all. It's about being terrified of a system that just feels, well, complicated and ready to punish you. For these small businesses, the amazing convenience of getting paid instantly is totally wiped out by the fear of getting a scary tax notice and having to deal with a mountain of paperwork. So look, this isn't just about one pani puri wala. His story is playing out all over the country. It's a national dilemma. India is right there, on the edge of this huge digital revolution, but this one hidden problem, this fear, this complexity, is a major roadblock. And check this out. We've made some incredible progress already. Digital payments now account for something like 47% of all transactions in India. I mean, that's a massive jump in just a few years. It's super impressive. But, and this is a big but, that number, as good as it looks, is hiding a much bigger story. And this chart really puts it into perspective. You've got these digital-first economies where over 80% of their transactions are digital. We're at 47%, so we're kind of halfway there. The real question is, what's it going to take to close that gap? How do we unlock the rest of India's digital potential? So let's look for some answers. And a great place to start is a country that totally crushed this transition, South Korea. You know, back in the 90s, they were a cash-first society, very similar to India. But today, they're one of the most cashless places on the entire planet. So what was their secret sauce? How'd they pull it off? They didn't just do one thing. They had this brilliant step-by-step game plan. Way back in '94, they started with tax rebates, making a big chunk of what you spent on your card tax deductible. That's a huge win for the consumer right there. Then, in 2005, they made it fun by launching a national lottery for digital receipts. And then by 2010, they turned their attention to businesses, linking digital transactions to better credit scores. You see the pattern here? It was never about punishment. It was all about positive rewards. Make it good for people, and they'll do it. So what's the takeaway for India? Well, instead of using digital payments as a tool to catch people, what if we just flip the script entirely? Just imagine this. You use UPI and you get a little bit of GST cashback. Instantly. Suddenly, it's a win-win. The consumer is happy, the business is happy, everyone's rewarded for being part of the system. And here's another game changer. Think about a small business. That steady stream of UPI payments, that's solid proof of their income. So why not let banks use that transaction history to give them better credit scores and make it easier to get loans? All of a sudden, that QR code isn't a threat anymore. It's a key to growing their business. And you know what? South Korea isn't the only one who's figured this out. There's a whole playbook out there, filled with proven ideas from all over the world that show one thing very clearly. Incentives work. Let's check out a couple more. So you heard me mention a receipt lottery. What in the world is that? It's actually a genius idea, and it's super simple. Every time you pay for something digitally or you get a proper receipt, you're automatically entered into a lottery, and you can win real cash prizes. It's a simple little nudge that gets every single customer to ask for a real digital bill. In the best part, it totally works. South Korea did it, China did it, and listen to this. Taiwan has been running a receipt lottery since 1951. Can you believe that? 1951. 51. This isn't some new, untested idea. It's a proven strategy to get people on board by just making the whole thing fun. Okay, so let's bring that idea home to India. Imagine a UPI GST lottery. Every single time you pay with UPI, you get a shot at winning. This would completely change the game. It takes tax compliance from being this boring, scary chore and turns it into a national sport. It would make going digital the obvious and honestly the more exciting choice. But hey, it's not all just fun and games and lotteries. There are other tools in the box. Let's take a quick trip to Mexico and see how they approach this, because their big focus was on making things simple. Mexico's approach was really smart. They did three main things. First, they made e-invoicing mandatory for everyone. Now, that sounds a little tough, but they balanced it out with their second move, a super simple digital tax system just for small vendors. That took all the fear out of it. And then, to close the loop, they rewarded regular folks with tax refunds for paying digitally. See? It's a whole system approach, simple, smart, and fair to everyone. Okay, now we have to talk about the elephant in the room. The question that always comes up is, why don't we just do what China did? I mean, their digital payment numbers are through the roof. But it is absolutely critical to understand why the China model just isn't the right fit for India. I mean, look at that number. Over 85% of transactions in China are digital. That's wild. But, and this is the key, they got there under a very specific set of economic and political circumstances. Circumstances that are just fundamentally different from what we have in India. And this slide lays out the difference perfectly. On one hand, you have India. We're a democracy. We have the RBI keeping a really tight watch on things, which means adoption has to be driven by incentives. You can't just force it. Then you have China, a state-driven economy, much more relaxed rules for their giant tech companies, and a market that's basically run by a couple of super apps. They're just two totally different worlds, two completely different playbooks. So the big takeaway here is really simple. For India, the path to a fully digital economy can't be about force. It can't be top-down. It has to be about attraction. We have to make digital payments so easy, so rewarding, so beneficial, that everyone wants to be a part of it, no questions asked. And that really brings us to the most important point of all. We need a total mindset shift. We have to change the entire conversation. Let's stop talking about digital payments in terms of fear and compliance and start talking about them in terms of aspiration and opportunity.
Because what's the real goal here? What should a great digital payment system actually do? Well, it should make our daily lives easier. It should help small businesses get the loans they need to grow. It should make tax stuff less complicated, not more. And ultimately, it should create real financial growth and inclusion for every single person in the country. Now that is a future worth building.
So let's circle back to our pani puri vendor. Because for him, and for millions of others just like him, the entire future of digital India really comes down to this one simple, powerful idea. We have to make digital payments something to aspire to, not something to be afraid of. So I'll leave you with this question. What do you think is the single most important first step we should take?